in dreams you adjust. Benjamin, rise up, come in, God is your trust. Rise up, tribes of old. It's still for your soul. Judah, rise up, come, let your light shine bright. Reuben, rise up, come, stand up in your might. Gad, rise up, come, be strong and take flight. Asher, rise up, come, in wisdom's pure light. Rise up, tribes of old. In unity, let the story be told. Rise up, encourage, be bold. In the spirit of the ancients, let the future unfold. Naphtali, rise up, come, swift as the deer. Manasseh, rise up, come, let go of your fear. Simeon, rise up, come, let your voice be clear.
Greater light.
Levi, rise up, come, holiness draw near. Rise up, tribes of old. In unity, let the story be told. Rise up, encourage, be bold. In the spirit of the ancients, let the future unfold. Judah, rise up, come, let your light shine bright. Reuben, rise up, come, stand up in your might. Gad, rise up, come, be strong and take flight. Asher, rise up, come, in wisdom's pure light. Rise up, tribes of old. In unity, let the story be told. Rise up, encourage, be bold. In the spirit of the ancients, let the future unfold. Naphtali, rise up, come, swift as a deer. Manasseh, rise up, come, let go of your fear. Simeon, rise up, come, let truth so light. Adi, rise up, come, let go of your fear. Rise up, tribes of old. In unity, let the story be told. Rise up, encourage, be bold. In the spirit of the ancients, let the future unfold. Issachar, rise up, come, in knowledge you trust. Zebulun, rise up, come, be fair and be just. Joseph, rise up, come, in dreams you adjust. Benjamin, rise up, come, in God is your trust.
Known in the chat. Greater light.
It's still for your soul. Judah,
All right, that's
rise
enough.
up, come,
That's enough on
let
the
your
intro.
light shine bright. Reuben, rise
Come
up,
on now.
come, stand up in your might. Gad, rise up, come, be strong and take flight. Asher,
Greater light. Look, it was a full day. This is a full day. Like, you know that feeling like you done took some type of sedative. That feeling came over me a little while ago. I said, no, you ain't. You's a lie. I'm going live. I had a thought about that for those who like to try to assume who using and who's not using in the community. I remember when my massage therapy instructor, remember I told y'all he was a ex-monk, practicing Buddhist, but with a Spanish name. But I think he also had a pen created name, like he changed his name to Demount. Right? He had explained in these days and time how important it was when we see the signs, and he wasn't talking biblical, he was just talking based on all ancient manuscripts that follow the ways of the truth and the light. He said, when you see these things about to happen, how important it is that your system is clean from the synthetic drugs made by man. Because when it comes down to them beginning to separate during the turmoil and the disasters of war, where they're going to place people, they're going to place them based on different categories that the civil engineering is based on. Substance abuse users, your status as a citizen. There's a bunch, but that was the main thing that stuck out to me. He said, so if you're a person with a bunch of ailments and you're on all these different prescriptions, that's a substance. Whether you can help it or not. But they're going to separate based on these different things, different diseases. Because you're still, according now to United States, you're a patient under the Chips Law Act. And then for those, back to what I initially stated, those who are major cannabis induced beings, but they're the pot calling the addicts black. And if you're not growing your own, even if you're growing your own, the substance that's in it is still detectable to them to place you in a category of a substance user. But for those who literally get the street brand, which comes from a lot of the different universities that also do research on the cannabis, a lot of the cannabis that's sold through the market is done research. It doesn't just like, oh, it's everything coming in from the islands and through the ports and stuff. They don't even have to do all that. Everything is grown right here. So the different strands of chemicals that are on the street form of something natural places you in at no different than the meth head, the crack head, or any other type of head that there is. This is just a message to those who think they so pot calling the addicts black. The Adakians. The Adakians black. Now, like somebody like me and others who have taken to decide not to be, that's one of the mark of the beast. That's one of the marks. They will mark you accordingly. But just say right now, at a rush in the moment, I'm going to use one of the careers that I was in as an example. The truck drivers, right now, they need 10,000 people who had a truck or could drive a truck. And please report to the DMV to be tested for any type of substance. Would you be able to pass the test? I know I could. But just say, for instance, that is when they're going through the passports of lining people up in the different situations that they're going to line them up for. Will you be able to pass a screening? I'm just a thought. So I'll never forget those wide awake sessions in 2011 with the Honorable Dr. Carlo DeMont and an angel and it starts with an H. I can't think of it right now. Excellent instructors, but especially Carlo DeMont. So we're in these type of days, but you don't know exactly when the clouds are going to unfold, because remember, he's coming as a thief in the night, but he has given us signs and symbols and designations, just the way the what you call it, the government, Federal Register, they have to follow the scripts. Need to be following the scripts. Break it on down on what they're saying that they're going to do to the people. Right now, NASA is buying up all the real estate. NASA is buying the United States, all of the real estate. What would that mean for you who think you own property? If your property is owned by NASA, would that mean you in outer space? I went over that the other day and I'm not going over it today. If you're interested in knowing about NASA buying up the real estate of this land, for those who trying to claim land, say they from the land, they was born out of the soil of the land. All you do is go to federalregister.gov, type in NASA real estate, go to the most recent document, because they done updated and clarified some things. And if you are in any doubt of what it says, go down to the definitions and it'll let you know all the words and uh, etymology and breakdowns of the English race, because English is not a language, it's a race. And their translations to what they're about to do is written right there. Oh, testimony service. Has anyone noticed? See, those that was following the eclipse, they ain't talking no more. But when I went for my little walk today and looked up, high noon sun was at 2. High noon sun was at after 2 p.m. The high noon sun was after 2 p.m. going on 3 o'clock. When I saw the sunrise this morning, that sun and where it was rising from did not rise the same place yesterday and the day before. But who am I? I'm nobody. I'm nobody. And then when I looked up at the sun at high noon, but it was almost 3 o'clock, the sun is still eclipsed and there was a sun behind it or something behind it. This was at high noon. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making it up. I'm not embellishing. I'm telling you that high noon sun was high noon at almost 3 p.m. And the direction from where it rose today is not the same place it rose yesterday and then the day before that. And the sun is still eclipsed, and then there's something looking like another sun right behind it. Y'all look. No, as a matter of fact, don't look. Because if somebody tell you go look, you better not go look. Huh? You better not go look. I'm just telling you what I saw for myself. See, he told me to look. It's this me, study to show thyself approved unto God, God's authority. That I wouldn't have to work and or be ashamed because I would rightly divide the word of truth. But did I start off the way I was supposed to? My mind is God's mind. I'm always reflecting divine wisdom and divine intelligence. My brain symbolizes the capacity to think wisely and spiritually. God's ideas unfold within my mind in perfect sequence. I'm always poised, balanced, serene, and calm, knowing that God will provide the perfect solution to not just some, but every single one of my needs. God, you promised. God, you promised. While I wait, I've been trying to come up. This is literally for the past, ever since I stopped ringing the bell, trying to find different ways. I said, God, guide me so that I can help those. I don't want to stop that. I don't want to stop that. So I had called myself, anybody could go to the video a few weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, I can raise money, and exercise, lose weight at the same time, getting ready. And it's just something about the presentation, even though I fixed up the video, but the way all this rear and just a jiggling all over the place. And I felt like that may be a temptation for men that are, attracted to the heavier shaped women. So I didn't want to do that. I said, you know what? Spirit of the living God, give me fall fresh ideas. Let your ideas unfold within my mind in perfect sequence that I would be able to do it in a way that would be pleasing to your sight. So this is what I did. His ideas came in my mind and said, ask a charity if they have equipment that they can donate, like a barter, this bartering system, that they can give me. And then, because they already had it in their facility as for sale at a certain price, I will be using it to take that price to donate back to the charity. But the way that I'm doing it would automatically go into the system instead of it sitting up there for months with no one wanting to purchase it at that price. Maybe, maybe not. But the charity miles that I do would go direct into the hands that need it automatically, while I'm getting fit at the same time. While I am preparing this temple To be adorned as a bride for a king. King daddy on the way. Because again, even though Revelations and all the ancient manuscripts all over the world mention the kingdom of heaven coming, it doesn't say anywhere that we're supposed to stop what we're doing. The only instruction is to love. Huh? Be aware, be vigilant, stand firm. But with the armor of love, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. All right, now here, let me go ahead and get to, back to that. So I do have a new channel, and the channel isn't separate from who I am, for those who, may and all their thoughts thinking that I'm hiding this channel. This channel is still in effect. But that channel is solely dedicated to helping, and these are the three. I asked for someone else to be added to that charitymiles.org. But Salvation Army is one of my favorites. So that is a place that I'm helping, and I know that they help not just on a charity level, but also on a spiritual level. Hands on Thomas County. I specifically want it to go to Fountain of Life, but I don't think they have it broken down like that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to email a request. I'm going to find out as I go on with this journey. And the other two, I'm waiting to see what they're going to say. So this week, my first is going to Hands on Thomas County. And my goal, because I'm believing in myself, that at this weight right now, and just starting and just beginning this regimen of walking the stairway to heaven, that I can achieve 144 miles in 5 months. I want to put 200, but I don't want to, be unrealistic. But I'm believing in me. Now I may end up doing more than that. I don't know. Because it's the weight. I remember when I was in massage therapy school, and I had started going to the gym every day, and the elliptical was my favorite place. And as the weight shed off, and as my muscle tone start building back up and everything, I would be on that elliptical sometime for 3 hours. It became addictive. It was addictive. So I may end up doing 144 miles in less than 5 months. I don't know. I don't know just yet. Remember, I'm healing off of particular conditions. My body is still in a healing process from multiple strokes. Well, multiple TIAs. Let me be politically correct or medically correct. So my body has healed slowly, but surely is healing. The last stroke that I had was the stroke in my cerebellum. Slowly but surely, I'm healing, especially since I cut out the meats. The back-to-back iron infusions and blood transfusions, healing. Now, my testimony about the last blood transfusion, healing. I was just telling my neighbor, let me tell you, I went to go pull my own trash up the hill. I told y'all last week my neighbor did it for me. My neighbor on the other end. But my neighbor on this side, when I was coming down the hill and we went into a conversation, and it's actually our first full conversation. She introduced herself and I introduced myself officially. And she had a gift for me. She had a gift for me. And the thing is, I was explaining to her, I was like, for me to pull that trash up that hill, when I tell you in August, it'd take me over an hour just to walk 3 blocks, dragging this left side. So, you think I'm big now, huh? I was, I guess, possibly on my way to the 500-pound queen, huh? uh, so, again, as I'm continuously healing, this is going to be this journey is going to be a slow beginning. It's going to be a slow start. And I'm supposed to, my goal is to do it daily, but I don't know after the first day, this first day which is tomorrow when I do this, if I'm going to be able to move, if I'm going to be able to get out of the bed. I don't know just yet. I don't want to speak that, but I know how to work out soon. I'm not going to overdo it, you know. But again, that channel, if you go into the last, did I put the link to it? So there's 2 videos that I have that have Stairway to Heaven on it. One of them, you could hit the link and it'll take you directly to that new channel. That channel doesn't have any videos. And the first video will be tomorrow. And if you'd like to support the charity that I've chosen, it will not come to me. It will go directly through Charity Miles to the charity that I have chosen. And this week, the first charity through Charity Miles is charitymiles.org is Hands on Thomas County. And again, I know for sure that they are a reputable charity and they help. It may not be to the extent in my mind that they can do, but they do what they can do. And I want to be a part of that. As I wait, how can I help feed the hungry? God, I tell you, it unfolded in my mind in perfect sequence. How can I help those have a bed for the night? And not only that, the programs that I'm talking about, they try to equip with the mental, target the mental and the spiritual on what's going on with why the person is going through that cycle. Okay? And say not everybody in the system may be doing it a way and according to the way that my mind perceives it to be, but I know that it makes a difference for some, and then a lot of the things and decisions we make is based on choice, just like what's going on that's aligning in federal register with the scripture. You're going to have to choose who you're going to serve. You're going to choose Gog and Magog, or you're going to choose truth through love and light. Who is here with me? Who is it? Greater light. Greater light. Greater light. So you definitely please go click that link. Go subscribe. I think for the whole 7 years or longer that I've been on YouTube, you didn't really hear me talking about subscribe, support. Help a hand, get a hand to the hands out there. Again, any link that I put in the description, you'll see that link is not going to me. It's not being cash app to me. It's going straight to help someone that don't have a home, or battered mothers, people who are in situations where their homes may have got flooded out. The elements have taken away their livelihood. People who may have lost a job, not by choice, and it's going straight to someone else. Okay? It's going straight to someone else. Pass it on. Pass it on. And while I'm over there now, like I said, that is a separate page, and I'm not putting my perspectives, that this is where I do my perspective on living and life and spirituality and religion. But over there, which I will be using the word, it's just that I won't be breaking it down the way I do over here. I'm just walking it out. I'm walking it out. I said earlier in the last little video that I had about the stairway to heaven, there's a science. I know that there's a science to the elliptical, even in space, or what they call space. Because according to NASA owning the real estate of the United States right now, does that mean we in outer space? They trying to say we're in outer space. NASA has the title to the United States property. Well, they will officially. The rule is set. And if not enough people have anything to say about it or have any objectives, NASA will be the title holder to the land of the United States. Does that mean we're in outer space? Will that mean we're in outer space? All right. Now let's get to the scripture like I normally do. Let me get to the scripture. I chose Revelations 14 today, when I could have done it on the 1-4, on the 14th. I could have done it on the 1-4, but it's still right on time. It's still right on time. You see what my title say? You see what my title says? It says the Saab story. What's the Saab story? What's the Saab story? What's the Saab story? Look, I didn't come last night like I had promised. I got stuck reading on my own. And I was reading about the music again. And I had just finished looking at a book that I wanted to order from Dr. Inky, right? I'm going to, but as I was reading the music and I saw the 12 modes, I was like, wait a minute, the 12. And I started thinking about my 12 fingers, of course. That always comes into play with the 12 with me. My ancestral line. I'm the last, so right now, not that it won't pop up later on, but right now I'm the last of the on my mother's generation that have a sign of the 12. My mother and grandmother, they had the 12. My brother had his 12, but I have the 11. So each of my children that was born, that's the first thing I look for. I check for the fingers. So that 12 comes into this message in Revelation 14, but it's also connected to that Saab story that I'm about to talk about in Federal Register. So that book that I kept, that was the first time I really truly, when he was talking about the book, I was like, wait a minute, I want that book there. So I went on Amazon literally and looked at it. I was like, yeah. And I was being real in the chat because I said, you know, your stuff ain't new. I don't know you like that, but I'm willing to believe that all the knowledge that you take and throw out here, you got all of it from Dr. Malachi Z. York. You bring in ancient Melchizedek knowledge and just giving it a Dr. Inky twist. That's what I said in the chat, King Ellis. And I said, you know, but to have it for my grands is what, because it's still matching the light. It's still in accordance to what I teach myself, what I study for myself, right? The 12. Now, a lot of people don't mention this. They don't talk about this, but it's something that I know. It's in my DNA code that we went on a 12 day of the week. In my bloodline, we went by 12 days of the week. 7 days of the week came like about 4,000 years ago, according to research and development. So if we were on 12 days of the week, when Moses went and wrote his twist on time and told us it's 7 days of the week, and God rested on the seventh day. But if we know that the original true and living God gave us a day of rest on the 12th day, which day is the right day? Huh? 7 days of the week is something that got changed through time. They say we don't want 12 days of the week. Now, there was, based on the earth and frequencies and the way the sun moved and everything, there are cultures and different beings that practice 16 days of the week. Egypt practiced 10 days of the week. They thrive on the say 10. They thrive on the 10. 10 is the magic number for them. Well, we say 3 is the magic number. But this is all stuff in my DNA that I'm unraveling through my DNA code. So those who can count on their hands and count to 10, but they based their days of the week on 10 days. My ancestral line of this flesh went on 12 days of the week. Jesus, through time and space, the sun, light, is based on 12 days of the week. But who am I? And that's why the Saab story, the Sabbat, is the focus. Let me read Revelations 14, for I never get on with the story. The Lamb and 144,000. There's 144 elements on the periodic table. It's way more than that. But when you get to that 144, go to a physics game site and start taking the protons and the neutrons and stabilize them and unstabilize them till they get to 144. And watch what happens. A reset happens. And if you take that same idea and add it to the solar system, you'll see the planet reset. That's just on a child's game about physics and chemistry and solar system and sound waves and light. Then I saw a lamb standing on Mount Zion in Jerusalem. Walk in Jerusalem, talk in Jerusalem, sing in Jerusalem, pray in Jerusalem, walk in Jerusalem just like John. And with him were 144,000 who had his name and his father's name written on their foreheads. Forward, onward, Christians. You know, there's a utility on the braking on a truck and called a headache. And I heard a sound from heaven like the roaring of a great waterfall. It's always about the water, ain't it? The Saab bath. The Saab bath. Or a rolling mighty thunder. How many thunders? 7 thunders. It was the singing of a choir accompanied by harps. What? A whole choir with harps, with the strings. What? String instruments pulling on the string, your heart strings, huh? The tremendous choir, 144,000 strong. That's exactly how it's broken down right here. This tremendous choir, 144,000 strong, sang a wonderful new song in front of the throne of God and before the 4 living beings and the 24 elders. 4 living beings. Meaning, remember, true and living God. And when they say there's 3, because of this verse, I always say, well, something ain't right about them talking about a Trinity if there's four. Just like the four heart chambers, the four chambers. They always talk about our hemisphere, our mind, and tell you that there's two hemispheres, but there's four sections. I said, yeah, there's 360 degrees if you say so from one point on your 7 days of the week, and then somebody on their 10 days of the week will say, well, no, there's 361 degrees. But those who had 12 days of the week know that there's 360 how many degrees if you need four sections. 363 degrees if you need four sections. But there's four living beings. It ain't no three. The Trinity is what they came up to take us away from knowing that the other being is you. When Jesus said, look, you will do greater, you're a reflection. If you're a reflection, that means you're standing there next to him already, looking. He said, it's me, huh? It's he, huh? It's light, it's us. And there's one more. Who's that one more? If you are a reflection. He said, when you figure it out, you're a reflection. You right here. And when you close it, it's a twinkling of an eye, because once we move the reflection and you see. No, that's what I gather. That's what I gather. That's why they took it and made it a Trinity. How's a Trinity when it says God before the four living beings and 24 elders, and none could sing the song except those 144,000 who had been redeemed from the earth? Did you hear my King Ellis? Did you hear my declaration? Let me know if you heard my declaration. I'm gonna read it again. For they are spiritually undefiled, pure as virgins. It doesn't say that they were pure virgins. It says pure as virgins, following the Lamb wherever he goes. They have been purchased from among the men on earth as consecrated offering to God and the Lamb. No falsehood can be charged against them. They are blameless. How can someone be blameless? Blameless sounds like a terminology for innocent. And there's so many innocent. So many. Again, it rings in my ear when she said to me, Jesus didn't have to prove he was innocent. And I was like, nope, he didn't. They killed him because he was. And I saw another angel flying through the heavens, carrying an everlasting good news to preach to those on earth, to every nation, tribe, language, and people. Where's my brother, the son, and my son, the son? Where y'all at? Come on, God. It's time for you to keep your promise. But I ain't rushing you, huh? I'll walk off charity miles until you get here. Huh? Oh, you didn't hear I'll take, after I read this, I'm going to read the declaration. I'm going to read that declaration. And I saw another angel flying through the heavens. I want to read that again. Carrying the everlasting good news to preach to those on earth, to every nation, tribe, language, and people. Fear God, he shouted, and extol his greatness. For the time has come when he will sit as judge. Worship him who made the heaven and the earth, the sea, and all its sources. Every chemical, every creature beneath the seas and below the seas and above the seas and the seas of the seeing. Then another angel followed him through the sky saying, Babylon has fallen. Babylon has fallen, that great city, because she seduced the nations, lied, huh? But then when she told the truth in Federal Register, well, on this nation for which they stand, Statue of Liberty standing there as a man. Shake her off your island, King Ellis. Ellis Island. Statue of Liberty. A whole front trying to pretend that she's the green light when she's a he, a whole he. The Statue of Liberty even have breasts. Shake off your island, King Ellis. Babylon has fallen, that great city, because she seduced the nations of the world, lying to them, talk about they free, and made them share the wine of her intense impurity and sin. Then a third angel followed them, shouting, anyone worshiping the creature from the sea and his statue, that's a word I gotta type in there too, statue, and accepting his mark on the forehead or the hand, must drink the wine of the anger of God. It is poured out undiluted into God's cup of wrath, and they will be tormented with fire and burning sulfur. Sulfur is another thing that they got going on in the Federal Register. In the presence of the holy angels and the Lamb. The smoke of their torture rises forever and ever, and they will have no relief day or night, for they have worshipped the creature and his statue, and have been tattooed with the code of his name. There's a code tattooed on people's DNA that accept what the government is telling them that they are. That accepts, see, they can't decipher your DNA. Only you can decipher your DNA. They done tried every kind of way. They done built artificial intelligence, can do everything besides decipher your DNA. Even 23andMe and them. They got your DNA and every week sending you a question about you. I keep laughing every time they send me a new question. I say, shouldn't y'all have that already? Shouldn't you know that if you got my DNA? Oh, you know what, King Ellis, let me show you something. Don't let me remind me in a minute of some things that I said I would do, because I'll get off track and forget. Do you know the section of music? That's why, again, that was another thing past shadow hours had me not hit the live button, because as I was reading section about music, I said, well, I never started at the beginning of the chapter. I didn't start at the beginning of the chapter. So I said, well, let me go to the beginning of the chapter before music. How does the chapter begin in this book? How does the section begin? You wouldn't, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think it's something wrong. I think it's something wrong. That, let me tell you the beginning of this chapter. I just want to show it to you. The beginning of this section music falls under the section of, that's what had me dumbfounded about the 12. Wait. Oh, goodness. I just want to show it. I could say it, but I really want to show it. You see it? This is the beginning of the section. It goes in from biotechnology straight into art. After biotechnology, it goes into art and then to music. And that's all one section. I don't know how I missed it all the years that I had this book. Because anytime I want to go into technology, I go into the companion 3. No, I think it's companion 1. But there's a short section of bioengineering, genetic engineering, structuring the DNA, and then it goes into art. And then into music. The chapter before that is agriculture and farming. And agriculture and farming, within that chapter, is the human family. Like this chapter, all of this right here is about the human family. And agriculture and farming is in it. This chapter, right behind it, begins with biotechnology. And, hold up, music. I'm going to tell you what it ends with. And it ends with, nope, still going. This is all that last chapter. It ends with dance, cinema. Wait a minute. Literature. It ends with literature. This is biotechnology, how it begins. And this is the little section about biotechnology before it goes into art, music, and literature. And this is the human family. Hold up. Right here. Okay. Yeah. Associations, ecology. Right here. And then this is the animal kingdom and animals and viruses. But it starts with microbiology. So that's the 3 sections of this book. So I may go reading the music tonight like I did, because it's helping me as I apply it. But man. All right, back to Revelation. And they will be tormented with fire and burning and sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and the Lamb. The smoke of their torture rises forever and ever. Forever, ever, forever, ever. And they will have no relief day or night, for they have worshipped the creature and his statue and have been tattooed with the code of his name. Let this encourage God's people and say, no, not this ain't no threaten to you. Just encourage you, God's people, to endure patiently every trial and persecution, for they are the saints who remain firm to the end in obedience to his commands and trust in him. Trust in the Son. And I heard a voice in the heavens above me saying, now this is the focus of the Saab story. And I heard a voice in the heavens above me saying, write this down. At last the time has come for his martyrs to enter into their full reward. God is going to keep his promise. Yes, says the Spirit, they are blessed indeed. For now they shall rest from their toils and trials, for their good deeds follow them to heaven. Now, see, it's about the day of rest that I underlined here. Then the scene changed. Oh, wait a minute. It say the scene changed. There was a whole scene change. The scene changed from the norm. It says the scene changed, and I saw a white cloud and someone sitting on it who looked like Jesus. It doesn't say it was Jesus. It says someone who looked like Jesus, who was called the Son of Man. The Son of Man. With a crown and solid gold upon his head and a sharp sickle in his hand. Back to the sickle cell. Oh, back to the sickle. He had a sharp sickle. I mean, why would someone that looked like Jesus have a sickle if they ain't gonna chop off heads? No, he ain't even coming to chop off heads. I'm just saying. But it say he had a sickle in his hand. Every time they got to stick me because I have running veins, they got to go and get it out of my hand. Sometimes, like my children, I try to, all those years, try to keep them healthy so that they wouldn't have to get stuck for them to get their blood. You know why? Because the first time that my son had to get, when he was in a coma, and they had to stick him and try to get his veins, they couldn't get it. They couldn't get it out of his feet. They couldn't get it. They had to go in his head. Now, for me, they done went in my neck. They always have a hard time. I could be hydrated and all. They always have a hard time. But they would have to go in my hands. I'm so used to it. I had gotten so used, especially after all them years of research, that I'd be like, here. Oh, I'm not comparing I'm just talking about sickle cell or the alpha thalassemia condition that I have that make them always have to go for my hand. The time that I had to, that they went to go pretending that they were pulling my wisdom and then pulled another tooth and then had the two dentists in my mouth and they couldn't put me to sleep in time. So they kept that laughing gas on my face for over an hour. And well, yeah, it was a long time. But the anesthesiologist went from my neck, head, all the way down to my feet, trying to get where they can put the anesthesia in me while I was on that laughing gas. Anyways, the sickle. He had the sickle. Look. Then the scene changed, and I saw the white cloud as someone sitting on it who looked like Jesus, who was called the Son of Man, with a crown of solid gold upon his head and a sharp sickle in his hand. The Lion of Judah represents sickle. The lion's blood is the only, well, that and the camel, and it's hard to get a camel to fit through the eye of a needle. But those are only two creatures that have sickling blood, meaning they are creatures from heaven. It don't mean that the lion's blood was spliced with this flesh. It just means they are creatures of heaven. I mean, a camel can hold the water of life. Water, he can hold water in its humps. Then the angel came down from the temple and called out to him. So that means the one that looked like Jesus. Jesus said, we do greater. The one that looked like he came from a woman with sickle through the bloodline of the sickles. Sickling sickles. Then the angel came from the temple and called out to him, begin to use the sickle. It is important to use the sickle. The sickle represents, it's something about the sickle. For the time is come for you to reap. The harvest is ripe on earth. So the one sitting on the cloud swung his sickle over the earth. The harvest was gathered in. After, another angel came from the temple of heaven, and he also had a sharp sickle. Just when the angel who has the power to destroy the world with fire shouted out to the angel with the sickle, use your sickle now to cut off the clusters of grapes from the vines of the earth. Because some people can't hear. When they hear me say, my mind is God's mind, I'm always reflecting divine wisdom and divine intelligence. They hear divine. I don't know nothing about the divine. But if we say phonetics is phonetically all the same, based on English translation, then that means they don't understand my language, and I don't need them to understand my language anyway. It's best you understand it, you understand it. As a matter of fact, don't even believe nothing I say. Go check it out for yourself. You better learn who you are. You can decipher anything if you decipher the code in your DNA before they finally get it. Because they almost there. In order for them to overwrite your code, they need you to submit to their code. So once they place their mark on your code, because you've accepted all the things that they have said instead of you deciphering your code for yourself. Just then, when the angel who had the power to destroy the world with fire shouted out to the angel with the sickle, use your sickle now to cut off the clusters of grapes from the vines of earth, for they are fully ripe for judgment. So the angel swung his sickle on the earth and loaded the grapes into great wine presses of God's wrath. And the grapes were trodden in the wine press outside the city. And the blood flowed out of the stream 200 miles long, as high as the horse's bridle. Wasn't that lovely? Oh, I want to go to the next one, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to the Federal Register now. I'm going to the Federal Register. I'm always reflecting divine wisdom. I say when you love, it's all just start crumbling. Everything that hurts the children of God, when they use love as the armor, the truth, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Just like how it seems, and I said it before I left in my mind, and I could say it out loud. I said, the same way those women sat there and worked on behalf of the demon to get me out of that position, that whole company is going to crumble. And if it ain't happening, I heard it through the horse's mouth, huh? There's something going on and the company is crumbling. Now, I mean, you can redeem yourself if you wanted to. They know who they are. You could redeem yourself, but then again, I ain't worried about a thing, huh? God supplies every single one of my needs. He promised that he would in these last days, huh? God, you keeping your promise. Now, let's see what, look. Before I go to the main part of what I want to talk about, I might not even get there. It's some stuff going on in Federal Register, boy. And see, the thing about it is, when I mention it over here and then it happened on the news, anybody who'll be over here be like, oh, we already seen that was going to happen. It's already written. When they talk about it in Federal Register, it was already written in the Millennium Book before 1999. I'm just saying. I mean, so it ain't no shock. It was always about being prepared and ready, huh? I don't see nothing about the ending from the ancient writings of Melchizedek that show him talking about ooh, shoot the arrow and gonna be on this land. It looked like kingdom of heaven coming down to the rescue, huh? I'm just saying. Hi, in the final chapter, and not just in those writings. In every single stela across all 144 stellas, it's only 33 that they have access to that they can use to follow the scripts in the Federal Register, because they have to follow the order or ordered steps, just like we do. There are 144 stellas, all of them saying the same thing about these days and time. You are written in prophecy. So have you decoded who you are in these prophetic days? When Moses them, well, Akhenaten, was writing about what they saw through all their alchemy and traveling back and forth through time and space. When they wrote on the walls, wasn't they writing about you today and what's going on today? Oh, yes, that's so far-fetched, ain't it? That's how you know the people that read the Bible don't really believe in the Bible. They don't believe that they have any part in Revelation. They just walking the walk. Now here, let me share this screen real quick. Let me share this screen. Let's share this screen. Look. See, this is the part right here. NASA and the Federal Aviation System coming up with something with the Saab. They trying so hard. And what's her name? Bing let me know that the Saab in their information meant abortion. So I did a whole research with who is Saab in their NASA airworthiness erection. And they rules and regulations. Airworthiness directives. Saab, AB. Now, what we talking about? They cars? They airplanes? No, it ain't. No, it ain't. It's coded up in their English people's tones, because remember, English is not a language, it's a people. So here, that one, but let me go to the other ones that I saw that I was like, what? You were here. I don't know if you remember. I know you could come in and out, King Ellis. But remember when I mentioned Gordy? I was talking about the girl in the video, and I said she just happened to be in the video. And I said, I won't say her name. I said, but they called her Gordy. I won't say her, government name, a government appointed name, but I could say Gordy. And then I was explaining how down south in Miami, when you're referring to a female, we would say Gorda. Even though she was skinny, they did not refer to her as Gorda, which is, for the they referred to her as Gordy. And then here in their rules and regulations, I see Gordy. And I said, what? What is this about? Now, whatever's supposed to be happening about football, they got a security zone. Look. NFL draft, they got a security. Coast Guards are going to be called in for the NFL draft. I'm saying, what's supposed to be going on? Let me find that Gordy. So whatever's supposed to be happening in that area of the matter. Wait, where did I see that at? Wait, let me see if I can go back another one. Oh, no, that takes me out of it. I need to stick on this one. I need to stick here on the 9. Was that under the 9 rules? Well, I was looking all under the rules. See this right here? What's supposed to be happening during the NFL that they need the Coast Guard in there? Huh? I don't want to click it. I don't want to click it. It's scheduled for publication on the 18th. I'm clicking it. I want to stick to the Saab story. But see, I see what I said at the beginning. I may not get to the Saab story. Anchor in a security zone. the Detroit River, the vicinity, Code Regulations, Department of Homeland Security, public interest in practical, unnecessary, legal authority of Homeland Security. Hazards include potential security threats, violent, disruptive public disorder. Oh, they getting ready just in case. That's what they're trying to say. Oh, April 27th, it says this security zone will be in effect 8 a.m. April 20. You know, they did the same thing with the bridge. They did the same thing with the bridge. And then when I look back, King Ellis, they had done removed that warning because they put these rules here for public notice for in case something happened. They like those people who, when the bridge fell, the ones who were affected and those who died, because it was in federal register, they can't come back and sue the United States because it was already here. But then remember when I went back and I said they moved it? Now this right here is what they normally do. So when something happened drastic at this, it's already prepared. Whether they sent in a fake operation to cause a what you call it, or some type of outside threat or whatever is going to happen, it's already prepared. They already planned for it. Now look how many days they got here. So whatever's supposed to happen, don't be surprised when it's on the news. Every time I say that, that's what happens. Not because I'm prophesying anything, because they put this information here for the people. So you can't come back and say, we didn't tell you. There it is. Let's see. Ooh, they making sure look to say all this is going to be guarded. Vessels will be able to transit around the security zone of the Detroit River. Yeah, I shouldn't have clicked it. I shouldn't have clicked it. And I remember when this happened during that one of them soccer games, and they was saying something when I was in the community, like I'm always looking for this stuff, and it happened just the way it said it was going to happen. It wasn't as intense as I thought it was going to be, but it was enough for them to gain money and to call in to get funds for some halfway destruction for their commerce. Ohio River mile marker in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania safety zone. What? Ohio River mile marker at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Oh, I just got a shooting pain. What is that? April 14th. Temporary safety zone through 11:59, April 20th. Ongoing response and salvage of operation after 26 barges broke free from a facility. What? Say what? 26 barges broke free from a facility. Ooh. "26 barges broke free from a facility." And that happened already, or is it gonna happen? Uh-oh. My ears popping. There you go. They trying to send frequencies that won't affect me. Y'all know. Hold up. Let me back at you. How many? 26 barges got free from a facility. The last barge is identified, and salvage operations are on the way. No vessel or person will be permitted. The rules establishes a safety zone from 11 a.m. April 14th through 11:59 p.m. on April 20th. The safety zone will cover all navigable waters within Ohio River from mile marker 6.2 to mile marker 13.3. The duration of the zone is intended to protect personnel, vessels, and marine environment in these navigable waters while the location of the last barge is identified. Now, hold up. See, I tell you, I may never get to the Saab story. Okay, so they can't find these barges as big as they are. And this happened, when did this happen? What are those barges full of? So you mean to tell me they having a hard time from Ohio? They just supposedly found a man's bones that been missing 22 years through Google Earth. But they haven't until they find the last barge identified. They full of it. They so full of it. Look at how they say it. Look at how they say it. The barges have been broke free from their fleeting area. One barge is unaccounted for. They full, boy. Wonder what that barge full of. Huh? One barge is out there, done broke away, and they can't find it, and they will close down the safety zone after the 20th. What's today's date? The 17th. They still looking for a barge out there, y'all. Huh? Wonder if it's full of wheat or barley or something. What it's full of? Huh? Maybe it's full of gold, huh? Who knows? There's a barge out there. Oh my goodness. I should type in barge in the Bible. I should. Well, whatever's going on in Ohio, what's this other one here? The GSA coming out with something. What is that? What is this? What are they talking about? What rule this is? Let me see. They're full of it. There's a barge out there loose. It escaped from the area. 26 to be exact. But they're having a hard time finding one barge. An elder barge. Yep, language elsewhere included easily. What is the GSA doing over here? Key roles. Let me see. hmm You know what? I don't even want to concentrate on this no more. It ain't even important about they sob stories. If anybody else is interested, you can read they sob stories. Uh, you're trying too hard. God is going to keep his promise. Let me go ahead and read to you my declaration and get off of here because I'm going to come back later. I want to come back later and do the music because I got some songs in my head that I want to make sure I get them right. Um, so see this right here. Ooh, look at how it looks. This looks different than anything that I've clicked in a long time. Formerly known as Saab Ab Fort Lauderdale, something coming out of Fort Lauderdale, Sacramento. Oh, yeah, y'all know I told y'all this is when they supposed to be taking down the airports for the war. Damascus, extensions and prohibitions. Oh, that was 2023. Okay, before I get into this, yeah, I'm gonna go to the sob story, y'all. Before I get to the sob story, look, let me just show you in the presidential documents this right here. This is how you know they done came through. Here, continuation of national emergency and emergency authority relating to the regulation of anchorage and movement of Russian affiliated vessels to the United States ports. I'm supposed to do this. I can't do that. I can't skip over the barge and when I know what I know. It might be one person that hear this or somebody you might know people, family members that are in the area. I'm just saying to tell them to be prepared or get ready or something like that. This is a presidential document that was released, right? And I told y'all on the 16th that they would be locking down the airport. So that's what that sob story is about. But this document right here is saying that Russian vessels are already in the United States. Now, why they need so much Coast Guard coverage for the NFL draft and all that, not that something will happen, but that's what they normally do. They pay out, their military based on this stuff that is already pre-planned. But this is in some thing too where they may not know the moves that Russia or anybody else is going to do, especially since they had such a big hand in the decision of helping the Fits like Juju Israel with their part in the war, and now the allies to Iran and them are, making their moves. They don't know unless they all made their decisions on how they was going to do it at the G7 summit or the G20 summit, because President stinking penny loafer Azazel Joseph Kane, Crackstone Biden, Balik Biden just went over. They all met at G7 emergency meeting about killing that man's sons. They just had an emergency meeting over the weekend. So here, let me go ahead and read part of this that was issued on the 17th. Continuation of national emergency and the emergency authority relating to the regulation of anchorage meaning they done dropped the anchor, Your anchor hold and grips the solid rock, and the movement of Russian affiliated vessels to the United States ports. On April 21st, 2022, by proclamation of, there's a 713, 10 37-1, I declared a national emergency by the reason of disturbance or threatened disturbance of international relations in the United States, and authorized the Secretary of Homeland Security to regulate the anchorage of movement of Russian affiliated vessels pursuant of National Emergencies Act. The policies and actions of the government of the Russian Federation continued and the premeditated, unjustified, provoked, and brutal war against Ukraine continued to constitute a national emergency by reason of disturbance or threatened disturbance of international relations of the United States. Therefore, in accordance to this section, or with this section 202D of the National Emergencies Act, I'm continuing for 1 year the national emergency with the respect of Russian Federation. See, respecting them. What does respect really mean? RESPCT. Find out what it means, huh? I am continuing for 1 year the national emergency to respect to the Russian Federation and the emergency authority relating to the regulation of the anchorage and movement of Russian affiliated vessels to the United States port set out by proclamation that God is going to keep his promise. Which gate did he use out of the 12 gates to the city? 12 gates. There are 12 gates to the city. If you believe in numbers, do you believe that the 713 gate was open? I hear them talking about the 7th gate, huh? What is the 7th gate? Is the 7th gate a 7th sign? I don't know, but I know God is going to keep his Let's go over to the next one. What's next over here? Oh, now they're getting ready for what you call it again? I'm not even going to read that one. That's what they want me to do so they can shut me down. See? They can shut me down. Ain't nobody reading this mess right here. It still ain't real. Huh? It ain't real. Huh? It's not real. This ain't real. Huh? Now, let me go to the Saab story real quick. Let's get to the Saab story. What do they got going on in the Saab story? The Saab story was about the Sabbath. How you gonna worship on a 7th day when there was 12 days of the week? God is the God of a Sabbath of 12 days. 12 days, 12 gates, 12 fingers. I'm just saying. It's time for me to get off of here, y'all. Look at him. They went in too. Who helped them? Who helped them write this out? The Shamaram. If you want to know more about the Saab story, why don't you email the Shaharam? The Shaharam called Esau. He called Esau. See right here? They call Esau. Esau is the European Union Aviation Safety Agency. Esau at 23 AD. It is written and down at the propellers. The prop L's. They got prop L's waiting. Who they think they fooling? Who do you think you are? I renounce everything that Gog and Magog stands on, Look at his mess. Look at his mess. They called Esau into the picture again. Look at it. Look at that. They sob stories. Your sob story don't work no more, huh? God is gonna keep his promise. Uh, let me read a little bit about the. Let me see. Do I want to do that? Nope, I'm not gonna cover it. I done lost interest because they sound silly. They sound silly. But all I have to say is whatever's going to happen at the NFL draft, please don't be, you know, nope. I can't. I got to. How many times is Saab mentioned in the Bible and ancient manuscripts? And it doesn't. It doesn't. So I said, well, who is Saab in mythology? He said it isn't. Said, but here's various forms of Saab. Svenska Aeroplan, Swedish Aeroplan Limited, reflecting the origins of an aircraft manufacturer. The Saab also has roots in the Arabic language, derived from the word sabah, which means to be patient. You won't get to know better days unless you make it through the night. Be patient. This name has evolved over time with variations and adaptations in different cultures and languages. If Saab is the term for a specific culture or mythology of lesser known stories, I'm going to go ahead and tell you about it. In demonology, Saab is recognized term on its own. It is not a recognized term on its own, but it, however, is connected to the demon known as Sabnak, or spelled Sabnak, who is a figure in demonological texts. Here's the summary of Sabnak's attributes. Let me click on Saab story. They Saab story real quick. Make sure you see what it is while I'm talking about it. And in this Saab story here, they got Esau. They're addressing Esau. They're going back to their ancestor Esau, which is a twisted story. The name Sabnak is believed to be a combination of two words, Sab and Nak. In Latin, Sab means sword and Nak means to strike. Sabnak in appearance is often depicted as an armed soldier with a lion's head. So it's a soldier who took off the lion's head, sometimes dressed in black armor. He may also have wings or horns, indicating his connection to angelic or demonic forces. Power. Sabnak is said to have the ability to create fortifications around castles that are impervious to attack by an earthly force or weapon. He can also build walls around cities and towns and protect them from invaders and natural disasters. Additional abilities. He is credited to the knowledge of alchemy and philosophy and the power to defeat dragons with battles if necessary. The role. Sabnak is described as a mighty great marquis of hell, commanding 50 legions of demons. See, they called on their help after saying that Russia is moving in. He is capable of afflicting men for several days, making their wounds and sores gangrenous or filling them with worms. Ew. The etymology and the root of Sab-Ba can be explored through two separate components, Sab and Ba. Here's the detail of each. Sab, the part of the term traced back to Hebrew Sab-A or Sabea, which means to be sated, satisfied, or surfeited. It is primitive root in Hebrew and is used in various forms throughout Hebrew Bible to express satisfaction, especially in the context of the point of fullness or greedy bas, stars. The term is associated with having enough or being content with what one has. Ba, the component does not have a clear etymology on its own context. However, the various languages, ba could represent different meanings. For example, in some African languages, ba is a prefix used in peoples or beings. In Egyptian mythology, Ba represents the aspect of the soul, depicting the human head bird that flies out of the tomb to join with Ka, another aspect of the soul. Combining these two components does not yield a recognized term uh, concept in Hebrew or biblical languages or well-known mythologies. I just realized that I put ba instead of ab, huh? And the term Sabe appears in various cultures, contexts, and here are two distinct differences that might be relevant to your inquiry. Yoruba, state of Sabe. In the context of the mythology and history, Sabe refers to a territory located in present-day Benin, which is part of the Yoruba people's history. The Yoruba culture has a rich mythology with a pantheon of deities, Orisha, and a complex system of beliefs, rituals, and social structures. The rulers of Sabe, known as Ani Sabe, have a lineage that is documented in historical records. Anishinaabe traditional beliefs. The term Sabe as closely resembles Sasquatch or Bigfoot, which is known as Sabe, the Anishinaabe mythology. The Anishinaabe people have a rich tradition of storytelling and spiritual beliefs, where Sabe represents a creature that was part of their folklore. The Anishinaabe traditional beliefs cover a wide range of spiritual concepts, including Mut'Awuhu, Grand Medicine Society, the migration story, and the seven grandfather teachings. I haven't looked into that. As for the methodology of the term Sabe, it does not appear directly associated with the specific methodology. However, in the context of fluid dynamics and the computational modeling, there is a company named Sabe Fluid Dynamics that specializes in aerodynamics and computational fluid dynamics, that's CFD. They offer expertise on high performance applications and support the aerodynamics development. And then I asked, how many times is Sabbath mentioned in the Bible? The term Sabbath is mentioned 139 times in the Bible across various translations. It is a significant concept in both Old and New Testaments, representing a day of rest and worship. And that's how I got to Revelations 14, verse 13. When God rested on the seventh day after creating the world, and was later codified in the Ten Commandments as a day to keep holy. But then the day of seven only came into effect less than 2,000 years ago. They want to say 4,000, less than 2,000 years ago, 7 days of the week was implemented through the Gregors. 2,000 years before that, it was 10 days of the week. And the times before that, it was 12 days of the week. There's no indication of the Sabbath that the Sabbath was abolished or changed in early Christianity. They didn't change the Sabbath, they changed the day. And when people are so still, that's why Jesus' teaching was not that he was taking away the Sabbath, but that he knew that they took away and changed the day of the true day of the Sabbath. So because of that teaching, they made a direct mockery on who he was by making people confused about which day he died and rose as a mockery. Coming out of Egypt, if he's denouncing, hey, y'all know y'all changed up the calendar, I'm going to say it in so many different ways. And so the Pharisees was always at him. They didn't mind when he did certain healings and he did use other alchemy and stuff. But every time he started talking about light code and knowing that light code was connected to our days and in the sun, that's when they was at him, always adamant at him. Nah, you gonna make sure you ain't telling the secret. It's that of our 10 days being changed either. We gonna keep doing our 10 days, but don't you go changing and saying nothing, because we are right with the 10 days. We know it was 12 days. Don't you dare try to be change how we done fixed up the calendar and change date and time. Think about it. Every time they really wanted Jesus and was at his head, it was about the Sabbath. You healing on the Sabbath? What you doing? What point you trying to make about a day of the week? Huh? There's no indication that the Sabbath was abolished or changed in early Christian community, which continued to observe it along with the Jewish people of that time. The Sabbath serves as a weekly reminder of God's rest after creation and symbolizes spiritual rest for believers. It has been a central practice of Jewish and Christian traditions, emphasizing the importance of rest, reflection, and worship. So if you love in light every day versus thinking of the days and how man has made it and translated it and transcribed it and taken away and added from who you are in connection with light, was their whole goal. So if you've thrown off the clock of the true light, where time isn't what it really is, then you throw it off everywhere else. I'm gonna get off of that right now. I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. I'm not gonna talk about that anymore. Their sob stories is not gonna work anymore. God is gonna keep His promise. As long as you love, it will cover a multitude of sin. The sin of math. Hmm? The sin of frequencies, all the man-made things that man has made to adjust to keep people under or in a box or under a spell or confined. Yeah, I'm gonna get on off of here. I'm gonna go energize off of my beans. Smells so good. Ooh, 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 ooh. And then I'm gonna come back later. I may and read, but I also want to go ahead and rest because again, I'm hitting that elliptical. I want to do it before sunrise. I want to do it before the sun rises, whatever that sun is that's out there. Now here, if that's you, King Ellis, that came back, let me go ahead and read this declaration that I'm working on. I mean, it's out in tone, through my tone and frequency, through this YouTube stream of light. But here it is. One more time. I did one declaration for my descendants. Or order of protection for them if I'm taken up and they decide they want to stay. That during this war, because of my blood, places that they can go, that they are entitled to go for safety. Because of my bloodline, because of my research about my ancestors, that hermitage on Alvernia Mount and all that. So I did that declaration or appeal, and then I did this declaration, direct declaration of origin and extraterrestrial heritage. I have 5 months. After that eclipse, those chosen who have stood firm, chosen meaning you made the choice to stand in the armor of love for the one true and living God. That's what the chosen means, that you made that choice. So my declaration of origin of extraterrestrial heritage, preamble, whereas I declare myself to be native of the kingdom of heaven, with origins tracking back to the primordial light before the foundations of this earthly infrastructure. And I can declare that because it's also written throughout manuscripts. And the manuscript that I choose says that I was created and thought of before my mother's womb as proof to the information that I have been saying from as far back as my first memory entering into this flesh and being left behind by those 3 benevolent green light beings. Greater love and light. God is going to keep his promise. And I'm closing out with my song. And like I said, I may come back later. It all depends. It all depends on how I decide to move. Here we go. Which version? Which version am I going to play?
True knowledge according to the image of the one who created you. The people who walk in darkness will see a great light. Those who live in the dark land, the light will shine on them. God's promise, 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 promise. God's promise, 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 promise. God's mind is my mind is light. I'm in always reflecting his light. Always I acknowledge no knowledge, no courage. Ooh, God, you promised that great day will come. Yes, God, you promised that I will see my son. You promised that he is He's by your side, and nothing can separate this love inside. No masters, no doctors can prescribe ways in my calling. Only his ways, oh ancient of days, can correct. He reflects the path I acknowledge. God's promise, 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 promise. God's promise, 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 promise. God's promise, 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 promise. God's promise, 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 promise.
I like that.
Put him a new self who is being created to a true knowledge according to the image of the one who created it. The people who walk in darkness will see a great light. Those who live in a dark land, the light will shine on. Promise, 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 promise. God's promise, 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 promise. God's mind is my mind, my mind is light. I am in all ways reflecting his might. I am in all ways reflecting his sight. In all ways I acknowledge, no knowledge, no college. You promised that great day will come. Yes, God, you promised that I will see my son. You promised that he's by your side, and nothing.
There you go.
Put him a new self who is being created to a true knowledge according to the image of the one who created it. The people who walk in darkness will see a great light. Those who live in a dark land, the light will shine on. Promise, 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 promise. God's promise, 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 promise. God's mind is my mind is light. I am in all ways reflecting his might. I am in all ways reflecting his sight. In all